You would think buying a new construction home in the Palm Springs area would be a very easy thing to do. You see the home online, you schedule an appointment to walk through the model homes, and then you make an offer, you sign the 100-page document that they send you, and boom, that's it. You move into your beautiful, perfect home. But wait, hold up a second, okay? It's actually not that easy. I'm going to tell you sort of a horror story from someone who reached out to me on my channel about not doing this one thing that I'm going to tell you when buying a new construction home. So this individual reached out to me and they said they found a home. Well, they actually purchased it, okay, without using an agent. And they did this a few months back. And they thought the process was going to be a really smooth one, right? Because builders have sales agents, so why bring your own realtor, okay? So little did they know, right? So, the upfront process they said was very easy. Finding the home, finding which lot they wanted, which elevation, figuring out, some upgrades in the house like flooring and those kind of things, right? They said it was great. The builder had a lot of incentives, which they do. This is a nationwide builder that I'm not going to name here, but the builder had a lot of incentives like rate buy downs, smart home features included with the purchase, and a lot of really great things that builders do include. So I'm not saying not to buy a new construction home, but this is what I'm warning you about. So as soon as they entered into contract, you basically just get pushed down the pipeline, right? What a builder's trying to do is usually they have multiple phases, right? And they have a lot of homes that they're trying to build. And if they are currently on selling, say, phase one, then they need to sell out phase one so then they could start building phase two. And builders try to do this as quickly as possible because, downturns in the economy, no one knows what's going to happen next. So they want to sell them while they can. So as soon as they sell out all of phase one, then they could actually start building phase two or finishing up phase one. So when they had, usually you'll get either one final walkthrough or you'll have something like a home orientation and then you'll have a final walkthrough. The first thing this individual didn't do was get a home inspection. You go, well, Tommy, why do you need a home inspection, right? The home's brand new. Well, you'd think so, and it is. But the problem is these builders are selling the homes quicker than they could actually build them. So what happens is you get sloppy work. And I've even heard this from someone else where they moved into their house and 2 weeks later, they had a flood from the second floor from the bathroom into the kitchen. And it had something to do with the overflow in the sink or something. Things weren't installed right in the piping and it was a nightmare. Okay. So, but if you would have had a home inspector, if they would have, that person who had the flood, the home inspection company would have caught that because they check all these different things, right? So the builder and the builder salespeople and the customer care reps, everybody you're dealing with, yes, they want to help you get a nice home, right? But ultimately, that builder is paying their bills, right? They're on salary, they're not like an independent contractor like me. I'm self-employed, right? So I have nothing to lose to insult the builder to tell them to fix things, right? So this person, since they didn't have an agent, and that's the number one big mistake, they didn't have anyone to fight for them. But on their first home orientation, they didn't do a home inspection because the builder said, oh, it's going to be fine. Sorry, I had a little hair on my nose. Everything's going to be great. It's a new home. But the problem is, you don't see, it's like, unless you're doing this every single day, a home inspector knows to check for certain things, They know to look at, the pipes in a certain way, the roof, they know to check the AC unit, the temperature that's coming out of the vent, the water heater, everything, right? And when you get a home inspection done on a new construction home, the great thing is then you have that list to give to the builder to have them fixed, because usually you have a year fit and finish warranty on everything inside the house, right? And then 10 years on the exterior of the home, like stucco. You're gonna have to check on your documents, but that's most of the time that's the case, right? And there's a lot of benefits from buying new construction, You have LED energy efficient lighting, the home comes with solar, the tankless water heater, dual pane windows, everything's new, right? But my biggest takeaway, especially from listening to this individual, was their house had a lot of issues on the home orientation, and the guy was rushing them through it, and they didn't have an agent there. They didn't have a home inspector. So he basically just walked them through the house, and you do this thing where you get different colors pieces of tape and you stick it everywhere, right? And then they say, okay, by the final walkthrough, all these different items should be fixed. Well, number one, when they did the final walkthrough, the items weren't fixed and they were sort of being pressured to close, which at that point, the agent, if they had one, or the seller or the buyer, should have just put their foot down and said, no, we're not moving into this property until all these different things are fixed. Like their cabinets in their kitchen were like crooked. The baseboards were just cut like crooked, not going all the way down to the floor. And then the whoever did the tile just put like extra grout in under the baseboard. The work was not how it should have been, the craftsmanship. And, when you go into a model home, most of the time, they're going to have all these upgrades, like 200,000 in upgrades that aren't going to be in your home, right? Your home's going to be a base model, and then you could get upgrades if you'd like, but they sell people with all these different things. But regardless of all the upgrades, when you look at the models, the work that you see, the level of like how the paint should look, it shouldn't be all streaky. You shouldn't be able to see primer, the grout, the cabinetry. Just everything should, look new. It's not about saying it should look perfect, but it should look new. So long story short, they closed escrow on their house. And now for the last few months, they said they've been dealing with filing work orders, having people come to the house, things getting canceled, people coming, and just people in and out of their house like it's a construction site for the first few months of living there. And it's just been a massive headache, right? Because these companies will say, I could come at this time, and it's most people, you work during the day, or you just don't want to be bothered with having workers in your brand new house where things should have been done correctly the first time. Like they said in the bathrooms, they said the shower floor and the bathtub floor, where you would sit or stand. It was like yellow looking, and there's all these marks and scuffs because, when they're doing construction, they just leave stuff in the tub or the shower, and it damaged the fiberglass. So now they have to get all of that fixed. So, but they said, they thought, well, I could rely on using this big builder salesperson, and that since it's a new home, it would go good. Another thing they mentioned is make sure you look at that year fit and finish warranty, the disclosures, because actually, whether your builder gives you 2 walkthroughs or 1 walkthrough, sometimes they'll mention, like this builder had, where if you don't list all the different things in the house on that walkthrough, if you don't point them out, then the builder is technically, they're not liable to fix those things if they choose not to. Because these are huge documents drafted by their attorneys, okay, in favor for the builder, right? But basically, they said, luckily, their builder is fixing all the different things. But, the wife had, I guess, she almost had like a mini heart attack when she read that if you don't point out certain things on the home orientation, the builder doesn't have to fix those with the fit and finish warranty. Now, luckily, this is a big builder and they're deciding to still fix the things, but that's why you need to have an inspector there. You need to have your agent there. You need to make sure before you move in that you walk into that house and all those things you pointed out are fixed. And delay closing, because if you delay closing, remember, they want their money, so then they could build the next phase and the next phase and the next phase. So if you do that, you're going to have a whole team on your house like in seconds, and they're going to make everything how it should look, which is new. It's a new construction home. So because nowadays it's hard to find good workers and inventory is still low, these builders are giving out great incentives. So, you could buy a house with, say, a rate that's 5% when the prevailing rate might be 7% right now for interest rates for a 30-year loan. So, it's enticing a lot of people, but I just would recommend to you, and by the way, I have people reaching out to me all the time. I work in the Palm Springs area, okay? I'd love to help you whether you're buying resale or new construction. So please reach out to me. Make sure you use a realtor. make sure you use a home inspector. Make sure, you really stick it to them when you do the final walkthrough, the orientation, however your builder does it. Before you move in, those items need to be fixed, because if they're not, you might be dealing with a headache. So I hope this really helped you. Thank you so much for watching, and yeah, I'll see you in the next video.